Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me for another QB Power Hour. Today's topic is the top 7 pricing and money mistakes and how to avoid them. I know I've made a lot of these, and I'm sure you guys might have made some of these as well, so hopefully that's going to help you some. So thank you for joining me today. My name is Michelle Wong. I'm a CPA with an MBA in entrepreneurship, the owner of Wong for Success, and a longtime trainer for Intuit. I've been with Intuit training as a contract trainer for about 11 years now, and I just love it. And I love it when people like you join me for webinars like this. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, especially now during tax season, to join me for the webinar today. Hopefully there's lots of great information in here for you today. So first of all, before we get into all the details, a little bit of updates. Some of you that joined us last time or a couple of times before with Hector, you heard that QB Power Hour was going to be changing. And so Hector and I have kind of worked through the details. I am going to continue using the name QB Power Hour. I thought about changing the name, but I would be sad to see QB Power Hour die. So I'm going to keep using QB Power Hour, but I will not offer CPE, so there will no longer be CPE for QB Power Hours until further notice. That might change in a few months, but for now, no CPE. We are going to share the Facebook group, so if you've been out on the QB Power Hour Facebook group, you might have noticed last night Hector went in and updated the kind of the top part of it, the picture and the image and stuff and the name, and so it's going to be called the QB Power Users Community. Hector and I are going to share that group, so we both still have access and can communicate with all of you, our wonderful webinar attendees, and I will on QB Power Hours. I got a slide about what Hector's doing on the next one here, but I will in the QB Power Hour, I will still cover QuickBooks tips, talking about what's new in QuickBooks, some tips for using it, troubleshooting, and all those things, but the QB Power Hour webinars will include more topics like marketing, like the last one I did, March 4th, I believe it was on branding and social media. Today we're talking about pricing. So we're going to talk some more about other topics, not just QuickBooks, but all of these should be topics to help you as an accountant or a bookkeeper or a tax professional or a consultant to help accounting professionals succeed in their business. Now, the other thing I've done is I've created a folder in my OneDrive. I tried to create a bit.ly link. It would not let me do that. But if you can get these from the GoToWebinar toolbar, you can download that. That is going to have all of the slides. So let's say you didn't get the handouts from the last QB Power Hour, you can get all the handouts right here from this one link. Once you get this link, you might bookmark it and save it so you don't have to go through all that every single time. And I will try to shorten that again, but like I said, when I was trying to do bit.ly, it wasn't going to let it. And the recordings. I will be updating the webinar and putting the links to the recordings out there. But for right now, let me type in here where you can access those. It's on my YouTube channel. All right, so right there's the link. I hope I got that right. On YouTube, it's Michelle Long CPA. That's where the recordings are going to be, and I will be updating the website soon and probably have a new format and things like that. But for right now, it's all still there and it's all still good. Okay, so now what's going on is today, of course, we're doing the pricing and money mistakes. Next one on April 4th, D&D Long, he is the former Intuit tech support customer care agent that we had join us last time. He's going to be primarily doing the one on April 4th. I am going to try to join in, but Dan's going to give you an update. He's at the demo days in Tucson in the Intuit Tucson office today, and he's going to give us some updates on some of the what's new coming from Intuit and what he learns from demo days and stuff, and also do a QuickBooks Q&A. So if you've got questions about QuickBooks, he is a former diamond level support agent, so he's got the knowledge here. So I will try to join on that, but like I announced last time, I'm having a foot surgery, pretty major foot surgery next week on Wednesday instead of Thursday. They moved it up. And so I will try to join. I may be in La La Land from all the painkillers and things. I have to be in bed like for almost 2 weeks straight with my foot elevated like 90% of the time. So it's not going to be pleasant, but I will try to join you for that. So another couple of upcoming events we've got on March 28th and 29th next week. I usually try to do these VCons with Intuit, the virtual conference, but I can't attend because of the surgery. So you can still register though. Next, the VCon's going to cover recertification training for QuickBooks Online and Advanced QuickBooks Online. So the recertification training. So if you're already certified and need to get recertified, that's what the training's for the VCon next week. Now, here's what Hector's doing down here. Hector is going to be doing a new webinar series called Advanced Webinars. Those will be on the third Thursday of the month, immediately following the QB Power Hour. His webinars are going to be a 2-hour in-depth webinar. No CPE unless you are a paid subscriber. So he will be, announcing and rolling out with more of that. Here's the link, and he's going to have everybody who is already registered for QB Power Hours. You will be registered for Hector's advanced webinars. You can, of course, opt out of any of these. Down at the bottom, you can click unsubscribe, and that will opt you out of those. He's going to start his right after tax season on April 18th. Okay, so that's good. Oh no, somebody says I had 2 knee surgeries last year and had to sleep on the couch with legs elevated for 4 months. Oh my goodness, so I'm glad mine's only like a week or 2. And then I'm going to have a knee scooter. So those of you that are going to Scaling New Heights, hopefully I will be in a boot by then. But who knows? We'll see. 6 to 8 weeks non-weight bearing, depending on what they actually do. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, I will probably be posting updates out there because I've had a lot of people asking me questions about it. So let's get into some business. Now, again, I'm going to try playing this video. If you cannot hear it, you have the link right here. You can go watch it later, okay? So let me get it back to the beginning, and let's listen to this on Bob's Barbecue Joint. Actually, I'm playing this too early, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and listen to this.
Hey, welcome to Bob's Barbecue. I'm Bob. What can I get for you?
Yeah, can I get, let's get a pulled pork sandwich.
Is that for here or to go?
For here.
I need 1 order at earmarks on domestic legislation.
Yeah, 1 pulled pork coming up.
So how much is that going to cost?
$60 an hour.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, $60 an hour. A buck a minute. It's how we've always done it.
So how long is it going to take?
Typically 5 minutes, but 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. is our busy season, so it's hard to tell for sure.
So you can't actually tell me how much it's going to cost?
We haven't made it yet.
Yeah, keep your pants on.
Okay, so it's probably going to cost about $5.
Yeah, that's right, Bernanke. It should take about 5 minutes.
So do you ever finish in less than 5 minutes?
Dude, there was this one time we made a pulled pork in 3.5 minutes. Guy saved so much money, he bought hush puppies.
And how much are hush puppies?
Hello, $60 an hour. Now, unfortunately, that day we did have a problem with the fryer, and it ended up costing $14 for his hush puppies. But those hush puppies got our undivided attention for 14 minutes. Ended up being some pretty damn good hush puppies, too. Remember those hush puppies, Jimbo?
Damn good hush puppies, Bob.
Damn good.
You don't pay for your food service this way, so why would you pay for your business management software projects this way? Aries Technology Group. You pay for the value you receive, not for the time that we spend.
And somebody said they've seen it before, and they're ROTFL, rolling on the floor laughing. So yes, it is funny, and it's very memorable, and it does help you to see how some of the things that we've been doing, like hourly pricing, they just don't make sense anymore. So we're going to be talking about the top 7 pricing and money mistakes that accounting professionals make. And I am totally honest with you. I've made many of these, and I will share some of my mistakes with you. I've made a lot of mistakes over the 20 plus years that I've had my own practice. And I'm hopeful that if I share some of my mistakes and others' mistakes, you all can learn from this and either stop doing it or avoid it altogether. So we're going to be talking about not increasing your prices annually. So no annual increase, setting our prices too low. You keep working when you're not getting paid, worrying about the cost of technology, not investing in continuous education, using the hourly billing too long, and failing to offer choices. Now, some of these I could spend a whole hour on, and I probably will in some future webinars, but today we're just going to hit on some of the top parts of some of these to give you a good overview of a lot of these mistakes. So first of all, no annual increase. Okay, I have a poll question for you before we go on and talk about this on when is the last time you increased your prices and rates. So go ahead and answer that polling question for me just to give me an idea where you guys are, and I will share it so you can see where everybody else is. Keep in mind there is no CPE credit, so you don't have to answer the polling question, but I like to have people do the polling question because it helps to see where you are and with everybody else as a comparison. So I will always give you about a minute to answer that polling question. The faster you guys answer it, the faster we can move along. And I will be honest with you on increasing your billing rates. When I first started my practice, I was really bad about increasing my prices. I was always afraid if I raised my prices, I was going to lose clients. That's not always the case, okay? So let's go ahead and answer this polling question. If you want to answer, go ahead and click on it and tell me when is the last time that you increased your prices? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close it and share the results with you now. So let's close and share. So look at this. Only 4% of you are doing it every year. 60% between 1 and 2, 13% more than 3 years, 10% can't remember, and 13% never. Okay, so we definitely can help improve on this. We all should be increasing our billing rates every year, even if it's just a small percentage. And the reason for that is because you want your clients to get used to an annual price increase. And the other thing is, if you're working every single year, oh, somebody says number one on the poll was not within 1 year. And that's kind of what I meant, that you have not done it within the past year. So anyway, you want to do it every single year. Every year, if you're working, you are getting another year of experience, so you are smarter, you're faster at doing things because you know some of the tips and tricks and workarounds. Hopefully, you're also doing CPE and things like that to keep your knowledge up and stuff like that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but you should be increasing your rates every year because you're more valuable to your clients. And a lot of times they get a raise if they're, if they're an employee, they get a raise every year. You should also. So maybe every year at the beginning of the year, maybe every year in the summer, whatever date you choose, you should be increasing your clients' rates, even if it's a small percentage. That way they get used to it and they're used to 2% or 3%. And if you're going to lose a client over a small price increase or even a large one, I've known people that realize, oh my gosh, I'm way far behind, and they may have increased the rates 25%. And they might lose some clients, but that's okay, because as soon as somebody else cheaper comes along, they're going to leave you anyway. There's no client loyalty there. If they're just looking for the lowest price, which we don't want to be the lowest price, we'll talk about that in a minute. So if you lose a few clients, that's okay. You can focus on your better quality clients, your A-level clients, if you will. And I wanted to share this with you over here. This was from the Intuit billing rate survey. Heather Satterley and I worked on this in 2018 with Intuit, and they put together some great interactive tool for us. Look, rate changes since 2016. So over a 2-year period, people increased tax rate by almost 20% and other rates almost 20%. These people are increasing their rates almost 10% a year. IT consulting, you can see that's up a lot. Accounting and bookkeeping even is up 16%. So you can see the billing rates have gone up significantly over the last 2 years. So if you're not increasing your billing rates or your prices every year, you need to be doing that. And here's the link to an article where you can see the link to this interactive tool, as well as you can have links to other articles, a recording where I did a QB Power Hour talking about the results in depth and showed you how to use this interactive tool and things. You can access all of that from right here. And also a tip to deal with some of this is to set up your recurring sales receipts and use retainers. And I'll mention this a couple times, I think, today. There's no reason we should be chasing accounts receivable. So if you set up a recurring sales receipt to automatically hit their bank or their credit card every single month, once a year when you have your price increase, you need to go in and edit that recurring transaction so that you can reflect that there. Okay, setting your prices too low. I was very guilty of this when I first started my practice. I knew what, the firm had been charging for me when I was with the Price Waterhouse, and I thought, oh, I can't charge that much for myself because I'm just getting started, because I'm a home-based business. And this was back in the day where being a home-based business wasn't cool, right? We said we were in suite A for the attic or B for the basement, So I kept making excuses on why I couldn't charge as much as I thought I should be, or as much as the market rates, why I had to charge less. So we don't want to underestimate our value or make excuses about why we can't charge that much. All of these things go into your pricing, your education and training, your experience. Remember I said hopefully every year you're getting more of these as well. Industry expertise, especially if you specialize like in the construction industry, not-for-profit industry, you can and should charge higher rates. Your reputation as an expert, you can and should be charging higher rates. So there's a number of different things that go into our pricing. So when you do look at that pricing, the billing rate survey, the average billing rate survey, keep in mind that there's breakdowns out there by designation, by certification, by geographic areas, and all kinds of different things. So we can't just tell you what the one price should be. It varies based on individuals. But you can understand what the average billing rates are. And I've heard from so many pro-advisors and accounting professionals that when they look at the average billing rate results, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not charging enough. And they realize that they are substantially under what they should be. So check those out and make sure you know about this. So that you can get an idea of what the average billing rates are out there. They are given in hourly rates, but in the articles, there's a couple of examples of a fixed fee. It's really hard to do a value pricing type of question on a survey like that, but there are some fixed fee questions on there in the links to the articles. One of them deals with a bicycle shop where you're doing the monthly bookkeeping form, and another one deals with payroll. So you might want to check those out. Again, all those links are on that previous slide that you just saw there. Now, another problem a lot of us have is we keep working when we're not getting paid. Yes, I have done that myself. I had this one client back in the day. It was a specialty sporting goods store. They sold fishing tackle and things like that, hunting gear and stuff like that. And I could see they were going downhill. I could see the financials. I knew this. Why did I keep working for them? I could tell they were going down the hill. And when I tried to tell the client, about discounting his inventory to move it so he could get cash flow going and things like that, he wouldn't listen to me. And it was so frustrating. So why did I keep working when I was not getting paid? I was too soft-hearted because I cared for him, because I cared for my client. But we can't let our emotions get in the way of business. You could not go to a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist if you're not paying. They're not going to keep doing the work if you're not paying. So we need to learn to say no. And we need to, set up those recurring sales receipts so you're automatically getting paid at the beginning of the month or middle of the month, whenever you set the date up. So you're automatically getting paid every month. And if you're not getting paid every month, we've got to stop doing the work. Now, here's a little cautionary tip down here at the bottom. Protect yourself with a disengagement letter. If the client's not paying you and you're going to stop working, send them a letter or an email indicating, due to non-payment, we won't be doing anything for you as of this date, and here's what you have coming due as far as sales tax payments, payroll tax filings and payments and things like that, to protect yourself from a liability standpoint. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I had another question here on where do I get the info on what ProAdvisors charge? Let me go ahead and launch this poll question. I'll answer some questions verbally. Where do I get the info on what ProAdvisors charge? I've got another slide with that coming up in just a minute, but it's in that billing rate survey, the link that I gave you on slide, back a little bit ago. It's on my blog, longforsuccess.com. And I think it's actually /survey 2018. So you could go out there and find all of that information out there. And yes, Jenny's saying that you need to get your clients to sign an authorization form. If you're setting up your sales receipts to be recurring, yes, you have your client sign an authorization form to automatically hit their bank or their credit card. And then in QuickBooks, you can set that sales receipt up to be a recurring sales receipt. If you're having the price increase, you should have them have a new authorization every year when you have that price increase. So that is definitely a good tip. let's see. And Keith says he's now charging travel time, which my average customer is 25% increase. And Keith, that is a great idea to charge travel time. What I started doing before I stopped going on site altogether is I would have a higher rate. If I go on site, your rate would be like maybe 25% higher versus if I did the work from my office, because I wanted to motivate them to allow me to work from my office. And I got to the point where I won't go on site at all anymore. Very rarely do I do that. Okay, so let's just see. And then here's another one on here. Thank you for sharing this. Somebody says, as an accountant who's just starting out, but with 20 plus years of experience, I feel like I have to price my rate lower just to land some dang clients. And that's a good observation, because I felt the same way. I was making excuses. And the key word to yours in there, you said, I feel like I have to price lower to get clients. That is your emotions getting in the way, and you're making excuses just like I did. So what we have to do is, a way that you could do this to get your first clients is tell a client, look, you know, my rate is going to be $1,000 a month to do X, Y, and Z. However, because I need some testimonials and reviews on my ProAdvisor profile, testimonials on my website. In other words, because you're my first few clients, I will give you a discounted rate for the first 3 months of $750 a month instead of $1,000. Then we're going to go back up to our normal rates. So I would definitely tell them what your normal rates are up front. Otherwise, you keep working for less than you should be. So that is a good opportunity there. And avoid those excuses. Somebody says, does QuickBooks have a sample authorization form available to ProAdvisors? Yes, when you sign up for QuickBooks Payments, which is Intuit's merchant service that integrates with QuickBooks Online, when you sign up for QuickBooks Payments, your merchant center has an authorization form that you can use for people to sign to authorize you to automatically hit their accounts. Somebody says, what would be a good starting rate for a first client in a small rural town? Okay, Patricia, now that's really hard to answer, because your first client versus your last client, you're still the same person. You still have the same knowledge, expertise, and all that. In the small rural town, that doesn't matter so much anymore, because people can work from anywhere anymore. And I've been involved in this Intuit billing rate survey, gosh, probably 8 to 10 years now. I can't remember how long, but what I saw over the years, initially there was a big difference between the prices people charged in the urban areas and the big cities versus the rural areas. Now that difference is not very significant at all anymore, because people with technology, people can have clients anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this poll question here. Have you continued working when you shouldn't have? And thank you guys for sharing. 68%, yes, I have. Yes, yay, you guys have all done the same thing I have. It's really hard sometimes, isn't it? So a lot of you have. Congratulations to the 25% of you that have not done that yet. That's awesome. So anyway, and what a starting price or what the rate should be for a client, every client is going to be different. You know, some clients have inventory, some clients have payroll, some clients have a lot of job costing or various classes and location tracking. And so some clients are more challenging than others. Somebody says, do you have a sample disengagement letter? Not readily available, but you know, basically what you're wanting to put in there on a disengagement letter is you want to put in there the date that you're going to discontinue services, what they need to be responsible for, you know, upcoming due dates. And I would do upcoming due dates for like the next 3 months, you know, so what you're doing there is CYA, cover your butt, right? Okay. And again, somebody asked for a sample disengagement letter. I will try to get one together that I can share with you guys, okay? All right, let's continue on here. Worrying about the cost of technology. And I used to do this too, right? I didn't want to pay for things because it cost more. You know, especially when you're first starting out and you're pinching pennies and every dollar matters, right? When you're first getting started, things are a little different versus when you get more clients and more work and a full workload. So What we want to strive for, though, is to automate our processes wherever we can to make us more efficient. Now, it is in the middle of tax season right now. We just passed the March 15th deadline. We got the April 15th coming up. So think about this. You know, some of you may or may not be preparing taxes, but I would venture a guess that probably 99% of the tax professionals use tax prep software. Now, why do they do that? Technically, they could go to irs.gov, download the PDF forms, fill them out manually, and paper file them, right? How many of you are laughing at me now? That's absurd, right? Would you want to even paper file a return, let alone manually fill out the forms? Remember paper filing where you had to make a copy for federal copy, a state copy, maybe something for local, and you got the client's copy and your file copy and an extra copy just in case, and you had sticky notes all over everything where the client had to sign a bajillion times? Yeah, Melissa says, ha, 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 right? We don't want to go back and do that. So tax professionals, people that are doing tax returns, spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on tax prep software. Why? It makes them more efficient. They can do more and accurate. They're more efficient and more accurate, so they can do more tax returns and ultimately make more money. And then they're ultimately more profitable. Yes, they may spend several $1,000s, but they make hundreds of thousands of dollars in exchange for that. Tax prep software is our power tool. Just like QuickBooks, just like these third-party apps that we have out there, those are our power tools. We need to pay for our power tools so we can get work done faster and more efficiently to ultimately be more profitable. You don't see a dentist using a hand drill. They have a power drill, right? When you're getting a filling or they're cleaning your teeth, they have power tools. You don't see a construction guy out there with a hammer and nail very often. They have a nail gun. They have power saws. Everybody has power tools to help them be faster and more efficient. Same with us. And that's where technology comes into play. I see so many pro advisors say, oh gosh, that's $10 a month. Are you kidding me? Look how much time that saves you. You know, so yes, $10 a month per client, but instead of $10 a month, you can make hundreds or thousands of dollars a month. So we need to look at the big picture and understand that these power tools allow you to be more efficient. I mean, would you want to go back to this green ledger paper and stuff? No, right? We use Excel, we use QuickBooks, we use power tools, and now our power tools includes a lot of these third-party apps. We're able to fully automate the process. For example, if you've got a landlord with 50 different properties, you can set it up to auto send the invoice. So every month when the rent is due, it can auto send the invoice. And then the tenants can click to pay it automatically, and or they can set up recurring sales receipts, but they can have the payment made by the tenant, and then that deposit will be made automatically along with any fees. You automated that whole process. Nobody has to do anything. There's even apps to send out reminder notices or dunning notices and follow-ups and things like that. So we really need to consider how technology can help us, and don't be, what is it, penny wise and pound foolish. Don't step over dollars trying to save pennies, right? Focus on the big picture and don't be too cheap when it comes to technology, because this is huge and our industry is changing rapidly with this technology. Okay, so we do want to make sure that you're doing some of that. And this is a great question. Thank you, Deborah. She says, do you usually cover the cost of third-party apps or pass the cost on to the client? Somebody said, I've been passing it on as an add-on item to the client so it doesn't cut into my income. So Deborah, when you're setting your prices, what I like to do is I like to build it into my price. Okay, so in other words, if QuickBooks Online is going to be $25 a month and maybe another third-party app is $10 a month, I'm up to $35. Maybe I have another one for $15. Let's say I'm up to $50 a month on QuickBooks and third-party apps. I build that into my pricing. Number one, I don't want to hear the client complaining, oh, I don't want to pay about that. That's a benefit that I provide to them for free. So they're like, wow, now I don't even have to pay for QuickBooks. This is awesome. You know, I don't have to buy it every 5 or 10 years like some of our clients. So you can build it into your pricing as part of your package. And then again, like I said, they don't complain about that. Now, with the caution, you need to know what the sales tax laws are for your state. In some states, if you build those applications, the apps and QuickBooks Online, if you build that online software and stuff into your services, in some states, that will make all of your services taxable. I believe Ohio does that. In other states, you have to collect sales tax on that portion of it. So know and understand what the sales tax laws are for your state. If you're not sure, check with Avalara. Okay, somebody said Wisconsin does that. So check with them. You know, you may have to know about that. But my goal, you know, if I pay $25 a month for QuickBooks and the retail's $50, I'm not going to worry about trying to charge my client $50 for that and make $25 off of that. It's not worth the hassle to me when the value is in my services as a package to the client. So that's what I recommend, but that's up to you. Oh my goodness. So Boris, somebody says that QuickBooks Online compared to desktop is a hand drill. In other words, the dentist doing it manually. Okay. He says it's slow and navigation is not the best. So Boris, you definitely need to learn some of the navigation tips and tricks that come with QuickBooks Online. Hold on here. I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. So on my YouTube channel from several years ago, I did a video about some of the navigation tips out here. When I do QuickBooks, you know, webinars and I'm covering QuickBooks in here, you all can see I'm moving around very quickly. It is not slow and it's fast. And actually now, when I go back to desktop, that's the hand drill to me. That's the old clunky manual way with desktop. Now that I've learned all those tips and tricks with QBO Online. So, so go to that YouTube video there. I hope that's the right URL for that so you can find that. And somebody says, I think finding the right technology is challenging. There's so much out there. You're absolutely right. And that's why I've got some plans and some ideas to help you all with some of that stuff coming. And I won't say the near future because I have surgery. So several months. So stay tuned. If you don't already, subscribe to my blog, which I haven't posted on for a long time. I apologize. But subscribe to my blog, follow me on Facebook, things like that. Longforsuccess.com is where you can find my blog. And Michelle Long, usually you can find me on social media with Michelle Long CPA because there's a lot of Michelle Longs out there. Or join our Facebook group, QB Power Users, and I've got a link for that, I believe, coming towards the end. Okay, so we cannot be worrying about the technology, okay? All right, so very good. Somebody says Washington does that too. Wisconsin does that. Yes, thank you. Somebody says, what about as a straight reimbursed expense, no additional passing through sales tax I paid already? Check with your state, okay? I just don't want to be any difference. And somebody here, thank you, Denise, totally disagree. QBO is way faster than desktop. You need a better ISP, Internet Service Provider. Absolutely, because QuickBooks Online is very fast. So if you've got a problem with it being slow, something's wrong with your internet. Check your download speeds, and you can actually go speedtest.org and check your download speed. I've done that many times, and I'll call up my internet company and I'll complain, hey, I'm not getting the download speeds I'm supposed to. And over the years, they've replaced modems. They've actually, one time they had to dig up the cable and replace it because the water had degraded it and caused the slowdown. So follow up on that. And somebody says, vendors sometimes raise rates with little notice in the middle of the year. Somebody said they built a cushion in your price, and that's a good idea. And just like your vendors increase their prices every year, you should be increasing your prices every year as well, okay? All right, so this is awesome. Thank you. I can't even work on desktop anymore. It feels and looks like a dinosaur to me. I know, right? Once you get used to using QuickBooks Online, it's very hard to go back to desktop. So, and that's true here. Somebody says that some browser extensions can cause bloated and can slow down QuickBooks. What I recommend is that you use Chrome and you set up a separate Chrome user so that you can have no extensions and nothing dragging it down, and you can clear your cache and cookies frequently. Thank you, Kyle. He corrected me. It's speedtest.net, not .org. Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, so I just put that, you should see speedtest.net out there now. Yes, and clear your cache and cookies on a regular basis. And somebody said you need to know the shortcuts in desktop. Well, you know what? QuickBooks Online has shortcuts too. You have the same keyboard shortcuts, so you don't have to use your mouse as much as you think once you learn those shortcuts and tips with QuickBooks Online. Okay, enough of that. We can't get off on that. All right. Now, not investing. This is, again, a money mistake that a lot of us make, not investing in continuous education. And so you all obviously are doing a good job with this because you're taking this webinar today and listening, hopefully, to a lot of QB Power Hour webinars and other webinars or other training or conferences. Some of you go to VCons as well. So that's always a good idea. So we want to schedule and attend events regularly, whether it's QB Power Hour or Hector's advanced webinars or other webinars like CPA Academy has a lot of webinars. Intuit has a lot of webinars. I have some links down here to some free webinars that you can have. But then also, if you can afford it, I definitely recommend the Scaling New Heights Conference in June in Salt Lake City this year, as well as QuickBooks Connect, which is in San Jose in October, I believe. We'd love to have you join us at those conferences. There's a lot of great content and a lot of great networking opportunities there as well. So, and here's some other ones where you can get free CPE, like QB training events. You can get free CPE. They have webinars all throughout the month. They have that virtual conference for recertification next week. ProAdvisor.intuit.com. In just a minute, we're going to talk about how valuable your QuickBooks Online certification can be. And you can join for QuickBooks Online certification and training. It's totally free. Our industry is changing rapidly due to technology. And if you're not keeping up, you are getting left behind. And I know I have found this myself where I've been, last year I had back surgery. God, I've had enough surgeries to last me a lifetime. I didn't have many before the last few years. Getting old is no fun. But I was out of touch for a few months, and my gosh, it's like, oh my gosh, look how much has changed in a matter of months. So you really need to be keeping up with some of this stuff. And somebody says, are you and Heather doing the 2-day workshops again this summer? Tina, in May and June, they will be scheduling some of the certification training for the Intuit, kind of roadshow. And so I don't know what the cities are yet or what the training is going to be, but I don't think it's going to be those 2-day workshops in the spring. That might be again next fall. But always pay attention to QB training events so you can see that. So very good. All right, so that was number 5. Let's move on here. Now, this is where I wanted to emphasize the benefit and the value of getting certified if you're not already. So first of all, let's launch a poll question. Remember, these polls are for informational purposes only. They are not for CPE anymore. Somebody says maybe she meant VCon. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The VCon is coming up next week, and that will be recertification training. In May and June, Intuit is probably, I can't guarantee it, but they're probably going to do live events, and it probably will be certification training. You can get that at the QB training events as well. Once it's scheduled and everything, it'll be out there. And then there's other ones that are at that are available, the paid webinars or paid events, conferences like Scaling New Heights, as well as QuickBooks Connect. Okay, so go ahead and answer this poll question quickly if you can. Oh yes, and Heather and, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name, Liz. No. Oh God, I'm having a mind freeze here. She's going to hate me for this. They do the Appy Hour now. And I'm totally, she's cute, she's great, I love presenting with, it is Liz, it's Liz Scott. Yeah, so they do, yes, thank you, Joanne, and some of you are typing it in there. Heather and Liz do the Appy Hour webinar series now as well. So, okay, can you review the certification on QBO Advanced Cert? Yes, if you're already certified with QBO Advanced Cert, if you're already Advanced Certified, you now need to recertify to maintain that. That is next week at the virtual conference, qbtrainingevents.com. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll here. And it says how many, and you can answer as many as were applicable here. It 53% of you are certified in QBO, 32% desktop, 31% advanced certified in QBO, awesome, 20% in desktop, fabulous, 20% are not certified in QuickBooks. So for, let's see, there's only about 20 to 30% of you that are advanced certified. You can increase your billing rates and your prices substantially by getting advanced certified. Those of you that are not certified, you can also increase your billing rates a lot just by getting certified. So let's look at this chart. This is the results, one of the results from that average billing rate survey that I mentioned. Notice the green down here, this is not certified. The blue is your core certified. You're just the core certification for QuickBooks Desktop or online. The purple is advanced certified. I want you to notice from not certified, $56 an hour, to certified, $66 an hour. That is a 20% increase. Those of you that are not certified, you want to get certified because you can increase your billing rates 20%. Okay, so you'll want to do that. Then between the regular certification, getting advanced certified, we go from 66 to 82 for the average. That is a 24% increase to earn the advanced certification. I personally feel like the QuickBooks Online Advanced Certification is easier than ever. It just requires time. Okay, you need to spend some time to earn that advanced certification. It is challenging. It's not easy peasy. But it's more challenging than the core certification, but look at how much worth it is. The other thing, once you're advanced certified, you will be listed higher in the Find a ProAdvisor ranking, so you get more calls and get more leads there. Another quick thing I wanted to point out to you, notice between accounting and bookkeeping versus QuickBooks troubleshooting and consulting versus training. Accounting and bookkeeping rates overall are lower than the troubleshooting, consulting, or the training. When you have more specialization, like QuickBooks troubleshooting or consulting or training, those things command a higher price than just plain accounting and bookkeeping. So pay attention to these average billing rates, learn from them, have them help you in setting your billing rates. And if you're not certified or advanced certified, put that onto your to-do list for after busy season. Get that stuff done. You know, you probably want to take the rest of April off. So maybe May, June, you know, through the summer, it's a great time to get those certifications done, all right? Okay, number 6, using the hourly billing rates too long. We already heard how absurd it was to charge $60 an hour to make a pulled pork sandwich or to make hush puppies $60 an hour, because in their situation, the fryer broke one time and it wound up taking them 14 minutes, but those were some darn good hush puppies for $14, right? Because it's $60 an hour. So watch the video if you couldn't hear it earlier. I apologize for that if you couldn't hear that. All right, so we've got to get away from hourly billing. And so here's where there's just so many problems. Because of technology, hourly billing is just outdated. It just is crazy, because right now with your bank feeds and setting up bank rules and everything, you know, instead of taking, let's say, 10 hours a month on downloading transactions or entering the transactions manually, you're able to do it in like an hour, maybe 2, because you've set up bank rules and you've automated that process. And now you're managing the data and dealing with some of the one-off situations. So technology, if we're billing hourly, you're going to make less money, because we're automating the processes. Manual bookkeeping is a thing of the past. We are not doing a lot of manual bookkeeping anymore. We're doing data automation and we're managing the data. So notice here, over the last 2 years, this is comparing from 2016 to 2018, the hourly billing rate, people using that, went down a 35% decrease. Value pricing is a 56% increase. Now, there's still not a lot of people doing value pricing. And if you go out to that interactive tool and you click right underneath this, you'll see this out there, and you click right underneath it, says see the details or learn more. If you dig into the details, people are still hourly billing for cleanup work and catch-up work, because they don't know how to value price for those. And what I would recommend, let's say you're doing cleanup work. The reason you want to bill hourly is to protect yourself for things that you don't know about, right? But we have tools to help with our cleanup process. You could do, you know, you can use reclassify transactions tool, do things in a fraction of the time. You might be able to use the write-off invoices tool in a fraction of the time. And there's all of those third-party tools to where you can actually export the data like into C, data, make a change to it, and re-import it back into QuickBooks Online. So there's tools to allow you to do this cleanup work much faster and more efficiently, so you should be value pricing it with a range. You use a range to protect yourself from the risk of unknown things that you're going to run into. So in other words, you might tell them, okay, for this cleanup work I'm going to do, it's going to be $1,000 to $3,000. Somebody says suggestions to learn value pricing. I will do an upcoming webinar, probably several of them, on various value pricing topics. That's one reason why I kind of wanted to change QB Power Hour, so we're not just talking QuickBooks all the time. We're going to talk about some of this other stuff. But with value pricing, you give them a range. Okay, this cleanup work is going to be between $1,000 to $3,000. Then let's say you get into the work, you've already hit the $1,000 mark, you discover there's more problems with inventory than you knew about, or with payroll or whatever. It's going to take more time than you realize. There's that risk. So then you notify the client, hey, we've discovered this, we've discovered that, and you tell them, okay, instead of the $1,000 range, we're looking more at the $2,000 range. So you give them a range of prices there to cover yourself and to hedge your risk there, so that the risk is not so great of finding things that you didn't anticipate. So we do want to switch to value pricing as soon as possible. Some resources for value pricing. I've got some webinars on my YouTube channel from previous, previous years I've done on value pricing. So again, Michelle Wong, CPA. Ron Baker is a value pricing guru. He's got several books on Amazon, including the Implementing Value Pricing. Thank you. Someone else shared that too. Implementing Value Pricing. And he used to have a bunch of webinars out there on the Intuit. You might look in the Intuit Marketing Hub that they have now to look and see if some of those are out there. And Hector also has some good videos on value pricing as well. So there's another a bunch of other ones out there. And let's go ahead and launch this billing, a question on your billing rates, this poll. Remember, the polls for informational purposes only. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read questions and talk at the same time. So somebody says that, the billing methods only add up to 85%. Is there some other method? So yes, Brent, thank you. Very good. You're great. I love you, Brent. He's so good. Thank you for joining me. So this is where, too, I wanted to talk about this with the poll. So you'll see on the poll, we have hourly billing, value pricing, and fixed fee. So the question comes up a lot. We all know what hourly is, right? How much time did it take you? You bill for the time. Or a lot of times you don't bill for all of it because you think you took too long, and then you undercut and don't bill as much as you should be. Value pricing is where you determine what is the value. For example, if you get a speeding ticket and you go to the lawyer may charge you $350 or $500 to fix your speeding ticket so it doesn't cost points on your license, right? That's value pricing. It takes him a matter of minutes to do that. But the value is he had, 4 years of college plus law school, plus he passed the bar exam, plus he's got all these years of experience. It's very valuable for him to do that. So that's value pricing. You're pricing based on the value of the services you're delivering, not the time that it took you to do it. So we're value pricing. A lot of you do that with your tax returns. You price it based on the form. You're not pricing it based on the time that it took you. So a fixed fee, though, is where somebody's kind of not sure how to do value pricing, or they just, I don't know. But fixed fee is where you might look at a client that you've had for a long time and you say, okay, so last year their total billing, what we charged them was $12,000 for the whole year. That included like the quarterly payroll taxes and quarterly filings and sales taxes and all that. So it was $12,000 for the whole year. So we're going to charge them a fixed fee, $1,000 a month. So it's still based on time and costs as opposed to the value that you're providing them. So I'm going to just, some of these I'm just clicking a plus to share some of the other comments. And this is great. Yes, Brent, I plan on making it to Scaling New Heights this year. That's one of the things I have to get done is my presentations and get them submitted before my surgery next week, because I'm going to be out of it for a while after that. So, and this is great. Somebody else says, I rarely charge fixed fee because time varies so much, and they often let the client know what the range will be. Very good. And somebody says they're a mixture of fixed and value pricing. Yes, value pricing is an art, and it takes time to learn it. So yes, you're right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'll share it with you. I think I forgot to share it last time. 20% of you are still hourly for everything. You need to work on this, okay? Because with technology making everything faster, you're not getting what your value is, okay? 23% hourly only for cleanup and catch-up work. And that's okay, but you still want to try to get away from that because there's tools to make that cleanup and catch-up work faster. You can take a year's worth of transactions, import them into QuickBooks, set up your bank rules, and process a year of old data in a fraction of what the time used to be to do it manually. So you're delivering a lot of value for that. 19% are doing value pricing and 28% fixed fee. All right, very good. So okay, so somebody asked what's value pricing versus fixed fee, and I just explained that, where fixed fee is still based on your time and cost, but instead of charging more each quarter or at the end of the year for the year-end taxes and filings or whatever, you look at what their annual billing was and you divide by 12 and you charge them $1,000 a month. So they're paying the same whether it's the end of the quarter or not. All right, so value pricing is where it's based on the value of what you're providing. For example, let's say you want to give somebody, in desktop, let's say a period copy for audit purposes. That period copy doesn't take you that long, but you can and should charge $250 and up for a period copy. It might only take you a few minutes to get it done. So value pricing is based on the value you're providing to the client. And we want to do that. So we also want to offer choices to our clients based on what they value. For example, if you look at other industries, like, I fly quite a bit for Intuit, which I love doing. I love coming out and meeting some of you guys. But if I want to pay more for an aisle seat, if I value having an aisle seat, I can pay more for that. If I value having the window seat, I can pay more for that. If I value having an exit row, I can pay more for that. However, if I'm on vacation and I got a family of 4 and I don't care where we sit on the plane, I want to save money, I don't value that, I can do that as well. You're letting people pay for what they value. Same thing with cruise ships. It costs more to be on a top floor versus a bottom floor, to be in the middle of the boat versus the front or the back of the boat. Do you want a big window and a balcony or not? They have variable pricing based on what the customer values. What do they think is valuable and what do they want to pay for? And this is where we really want to offer these choices to our clients. And here's a good example. Some of you that have been listening to me for years, you've heard this because it's a good example and it's true. Way back when, Wendy's used to have a single and a double. Wendy's wanted to increase the sales of their doubles, so they went to some marketing consultant and guru to tell them, how do we increase the sales of our doubles? We're not selling very many of them. The answer was, add a triple. What? We're not going to be able to sell triples. We're not selling doubles. Why would we add a triple? The goal is to increase the sales of doubles, not to increase the sales of triples. And in fact, when they added a triple to the menu, their sales of the doubles went up a lot. Because when I go in and I'm really, really hungry, if there's a single and a double and then I order a double, I feel like a pig, right? But if there's also a triple on there, I can order a double and I don't feel like a pig, right? The research has proven that most of the time people pick the middle one, and it maximizes your overall profitability when you offer people 3 choices. It's the magic of 3. If you don't believe me, Google it, okay? You can find out there. But we want to offer choices for our clients based on what they value. And this is great, Amy. Concert or NFL seats are another example. Front row can be $600 a seat, and then nosebleed seats are $50. You're exactly right, Amy. I had the privilege of going to the Super Bowl, and it's amazing how valuable some people find those tickets, right? The get-in price for the Super Bowl, I think, was like $3,000 or $3,500 or whatever. So, some people really, really value that. Other people, hey, I'm going to watch it at home and have a Super Bowl party here. They don't want to do that. So you're letting people choose what they value. And this is where we want to offer packages, okay? So how do we give people these packages? And we want to go through and set this up. We do need to have another webinar for value pricing, switching to value pricing, and how do I set up these packages? And I plan to do that. So make sure you stay subscribed to QB Power Hour and join us on the Facebook group and follow me and things like that, because I do plan on doing a lot more of these, because that's where a lot of people say they need help and they want more information. So we want to have 3 different choices for the client. And a good tip, notice how we go from the biggest, most expensive down to the most inexpensive. I won't say cheapest, but you know what I mean, down to the cheapest one. Start with the most expensive down to the least expensive. And you have different services and different values in there. You might have, you know, in the biggest one, you might have a monthly meeting with you, monthly consultation for 30 minutes to help them, you know, see how their financials are and how they're doing here and there and where they could be more profitable. You might have more reports, more automated reports, dedicated people, things like that. Whereas in the middle, that's what people usually get. The first one is like the white glove treatment, top of the line. The middle is what most clients should have. The basics is where they're on a strict budget, so they might do more of it themselves. They get less reports. They get less value from you. So you want to create 3 different packages for your clients, and consider options for support too. I have seen so many times where people will post in various groups on the internet or community forums or Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, and they'll be like, my accountant told me to do this, that, and the other. How do I do that? And I'm like, why don't you ask your accountant? Oh, no, they'll charge me. You don't want your clients asking strangers on the internet for help because they're afraid to contact you. Consider building some of that support in for you. I one time had a client pay me $1,000 above my normal rates just to be on call while I was on spring break with my kids. We had gone on a ski trip and he wanted me to be on call. And he paid me $1,000 because that was very valuable to him. And this was many, many years ago. And I had never even considered that. But he valued that to have me available. So consider setting up support options and support packages as well. But I encourage people to include basic support in all of your packages so your clients don't turn to the internet. Okay, and we'll talk more about doing some of that a little bit later, because we just simply don't have time to get into all this today, because we are running late. And so those of you that have a hard stop, I'm going to launch the last poll question here. Did you learn something new today? Those of you that can stay for another 10 or 15 minutes, I will go through some of the questions that you've put in there and answer some of those. And I have 1 or 2 more slides with information on upcoming webinars. And then also I want to remind you to join me in the Facebook group. But I will show you where that interactive poll is, where that navigating tips and tricks video is on my YouTube channel. I will go in and show you some of that if you can hang around afterwards. Those of you that need to leave now, thank you very much. And remember, the next week is the VCon from Intuit on recertification training. April 4th, QB Power Hour, I'm going to have Dan DeLong primarily. I hope to join in. Probably won't be talking very much. Definitely won't have a webcam on because I'll probably be laying in my bed with my legs elevated and some kind of cast, or I don't know. First 10 days, it's a soft cast. Anyway, and then Hector's advanced webinars is going to start on April 18th after tax season, and it'll be on the 3rd Tuesday of every month. So you can check those out at hectorgarcia.com/advanced, and that is on the last slide as well. So those of you that can hang around, please do. And thank you for answering that poll question. 88% of you learned something new today. Awesome. That's my goal, is just to make sure you guys learn something new every time you attend. Okay, so here's our upcoming webinars and information. And those of you that can hang around, I will go in and show you some of that, as well as go through some of this Q&A for about another 10 minutes or so. So if you can hang around, let's do that. So first of all, let's go into not Bob's Barbecue. You guys can watch that later. Here's my blog, so longforsuccess.com. If you click up here on blog, I'd love to have you subscribe. I do plan to start blogging more. I have been terrible about that over the past year or more. So I've got to start doing that again. But I'd love to have you subscribe. Here's the blog post. I put the link to this in the slides talking about the results of that average billing rate survey. And down here you can see, you know, here's some comments and things like that. But this survey gives you breakdowns by designation, by geographic area, by state, by certification and designations like that and stuff. So first of all, here's the interactive tool that Intuit created for us that's really awesome. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Here are 3 different articles. Now, in these 3 articles, you will find some information that is not included in the interactive tool. For example, the questions on fixed prices. For a monthly bookkeeping client and for a monthly payroll client, you'll find some of that details in these articles. I think the first one here. And then also here's the link to a QB Power Hour recording where I went in depth on some of the articles or on some of the results and some of the insights from the results. So the interactive tool is right here, and you will see this is where you can see all these different results, whether it's by state, by designation. You can see the demographics of who answered that survey, the different state average rates, the rate changes that we talked about, and all kinds of good things here. Now here, like under pricing, this is where I had that example of the hourly and the value pricing. This is where I was saying if you click on take a closer look, a lot of these have that out there where you can click take a closer look, and you can come down here and you can see this was for monthly accounting and bookkeeping. What's the breakdown? So you can see here we still had quite a few people doing hourly billing versus the value pricing. Over here, catch-up bookkeeping, definitely a lot of people were doing that. So people are still doing hourly for catch-up bookkeeping and cleanup or troubleshooting. But when you get down in here, like to tax prep, far fewer are doing that based on hourly billing. So you can get in and see a lot of the details on a lot of these different ones. Like if you want to take a in-depth look at the hourly billing rates and the increase, you can click on that. Client acquisition and retention, cloud adoption. And a lot of this on cloud adoption is based on things that we can do to help educate the client. And I talked more about that in that webinar that you have the link to. So you'll want to go check that out. Now, a lot of questions came up about the YouTube, the navigating tips and tricks. And so I'm going to take you out to YouTube and hopefully find my channel. Let's see if I'm on the right QuickBooks. No, I'm in my, I got to get in the other one. Oh, I am in QB Consultant. Okay, sorry. I have a Gmail account that I use for a lot of this stuff. So out here, search navigating tips, QBO. That will take you to that video. That's mine, I think, or somebody else's on it. Somebody else put it out here. Here it is. The QBO, this is old, but it's got 72,000 views. But it shows you how you can have multiple tabs or multiple windows open, how you can have a separate user in Chrome. So what you want to do is, like, for example, I have here my puppy dog user. If I go into QBO, this is my user that I use for QuickBooks only. So in it, I have a separate bookmark bar. I have a separate so the separate bookmark bar, I don't have any extensions or anything like that. And also by having this separate user in Chrome, when I clear my cache and cookies, it doesn't mess me up on any of my other internet activity. So you can create a new user by clicking on this 3 drop downs in Chrome up here. Come down there and click on settings, and you go in there, and under people, you can add a new person. Okay, so it'll take you out there and you can add a person. And so out here though, under the people, where is it? Okay, now I'm getting it wrong. Here's like Chrome name and picture. Actually, if I just click on my face there, down here it says manage people. It's under your Google settings too. I'm just not sure what I'm not seeing it in there. But manage people, that's where you want to have a separate Chrome user for QuickBooks only. And I share that, as well as there's keyboard shortcuts in QuickBooks Online, how to have multiple windows open, how to clear your cache and cookies. I talk about all of that in this video out here. That was the one where I tried to put out there earlier with the bit.ly link on QBO tips. So go to Michelle Long YouTube, and Michelle Long CPA on YouTube, and it was 5 years ago, navigating tips and tricks. Okay, you can also find it. I put that link in the Q&A if you're still having access to that. Another thing I wanted to share with you, because I saw several questions about it, the QBTrainingEvents.com. I put the link to this in the slides for today, but out here, this is something you should bookmark and check back frequently. They have webinars. Every single month, you can get free CPE for these webinars when you attend them live. The virtual conference, they have those almost every single month. They take a couple months off during busy season, but almost every single month. This month for March, they're covering recertification training. So for the core certification or the recertification for advanced. So that's what's going on this month. Some months it's the core certification and the advanced certification training. So you can do that through the virtual conference and get free CPE for attending these things as well. And then the in-person training, there's not any scheduled right now, but hopefully there will be some coming up mid-May and through June. And then again in the fall, we usually do those as well. Hopefully I will be on my feet and participating in those as well. So we shall see. So hopefully that stuff helped you guys there. So let's see. Somebody said they listened to a podcast lately where lower price was contact within 24 hours versus highest price, respond immediately. Yes, and that's true. You know, so if you're considering some of your support options, you've got to make definitely. So if you put support into your packages or create separate packages for support, then what you could do is, yes, you can have like a response time within a day or 2 days. Response time might be within 12 hours or within 8 hours or within 4 hours. So you can change how quickly they get a response based on the different support levels. And you have to clarify, if you have support packages, you have to clarify what a quick answer is. It's not quick questions, okay? Because your client always says, oh, I just have a quick question, right? The key is, do you have a quick answer? And if the answer is no, then that might be something where, they get 4 support sessions per month, maybe 15 minutes per session or something like that. Or some of yours might include, those support sessions where you log in remotely, you see what the question is and the problem, because sometimes we have to get into QuickBooks to see what's going on and help the client fix it. So you could have those be, quick remote sessions. But for me, I have it free for quick answers. If you can leave me a message, text me, call me, whatever, I recommend you use Slack with your clients. But if you can give them an answer in a sentence or two and it's a quick answer, don't charge for those. Don't worry about those. Don't track those. That's goodwill with your client, building client loyalty so they don't go to strangers on the internet. Sorry, you don't want to lose those clients. I get a drink of my tea. Hang on. I apologize for that. We don't want to lose those clients over something like that. Most of your clients will not abuse that. And so if you do have a client that is abusing that, you need to quit answering their phone or replying to their message. You need to just keep saying, we need to set up a session for that. This is not a quick answer. We need to set up a session. So you don't let the client abuse you. You have to set the rules and kind of stick to them. All right. Somebody says, all the clients bring their work into my office and I post the work. I don't see advantage of going to QBO. Ronald, I hate to tell you this. You're in old school. You're still using ledger type of things. You need to use technology to its advantage. There is no, you say the clients bring the work into your office and you post the work. So that's like you're going through their check register and you're entering everything manually. There's no need to do that anymore. We can download all these transactions, automate the process to where it can automatically record the rent every month, the utility, the gas, the electric, things like that, water bill. You can download it and automatically have those things posted every month based on things that the rules that you have set up. And when you set those rules up, it's going to allow you to automate, like, let's say 80% of the transactions, because 80% of your clients' transactions are pretty much the same month after month. Even if it's supplies that they're buying from, Home Depot or Lowe's or something, a lot of that stuff you can set up and automate so you're not doing manual entry. So I would encourage you to learn more about technology and the tools and how we can automate these processes. there's a lot of advantages. The manual data entry is definitely becoming a thing of the past. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look here. Do you provide coaching services? Yes, I do. Somebody says they're still confused on the different methods and cutting myself short. So a lot of you have said stuff about that you do want to know more about value billing and value pricing and things like that. I will have upcoming webinars on that. If you want individual consulting and coaching, yes, I do that. You'd need to reach out to me. But stay tuned for some future webinars that we're doing in this. And this is when somebody says, I have clients that are time sucks. The value is hand-holding and business consulting instead of bookkeeping tasks. Yes, you're right. The hand-holding and business consulting, that is where we provide a lot of value for our clients, and that's where we have the client loyalty, we have the client relationship, and we do, the bookkeeping tasks are being automated, and you have people out there that will do bookkeeping for $5 a month. Or $5 an hour, I'm sorry. You have people that will do stuff for super cheap. We cannot compete on price, and bookkeeping has become a commodity. We do need to focus on the business consulting aspect, and I plan to do some webinars on understanding financial ratios, helping to consult with your client on how to improve their profitability and understanding their liquidity and their leverage ratios and their profitability ratios and how you can consult with your clients. That's where the real value for our services comes in, and that's some of the upcoming webinars that I want to do. So definitely stay subscribed to QB Power Hour, share it with your friends and everything, because I love that. Somebody says that they rather do value pricing. They've been trying to implement, and but they're not sure, and they are trying to get moved. They did get 3 clients moved over so far this year. Yay! That's great that you have a start moving over and getting into it, because it does take some time to do that. Somebody said, what is C data? C data is a tool. There's also other ones that allows you to export things from QuickBooks and do manipulations and import things into QuickBooks. So it's an import-export tool that helps you clean things up. Let's say, you know, you got to make a change to your customer list or something. You can export that customer list, make some changes to it, and import it again. Or you can do things with transactions. So it is really cool, and I hope to do some webinars on that again in the future. I can't cover everything in 1 hour here, you guys. I would love to, but I cannot do that. So let's see if there's any others. And this is great. Somebody says, I've just branched off, started my own accounting firm. Any tips for noobs? I've presented 3 options to at least 5 different new clients, and their eyes glaze over, and then they just want to know the end number. I've also gained clients when they call and other firms say $185 an hour for QuickBooks help. So when your clients, when you present a package to them, and this is very important, and this is part of value pricing and packages and presenting options to your clients that we'll talk more in depth about, you have to focus on the benefits. They don't care that you're, you know, downloading the transactions, reconciling the bank account, and, you know, writing off old invoices, or they don't care about the nitty-gritty detail of what you do. They care about the benefits, that, you know, your accounting will be done accurately so you avoid, you know, risk of IRS audit. Your payroll taxes will be done timely so you avoid the risk of payroll tax penalties, and, you know, we avoid, you can sleep better at night because, you know, we are taking care of everything for you. The benefits, when you're talking with clients, you want to focus on the benefits. All right, so first of all, you're focusing on the benefits, and then you have to learn too to ask lots of open-ended questions that helps you determine what those clients value and what their needs are, so you can put the package together and you can say, you know, this is the one I recommend for you. However, if you want white glove service, you might want this top of the line package, which includes this, this, and this. Or if they're on a big, big budget, you know, you might want to start with this, which means you have to do this for now, and then maybe later we can move you up to the middle package. So a lot of it is in how you present it to the client, and you need to focus on the benefits. What's in it for me? They don't care about all the nitty-gritty details of what you're doing. They want it done, okay? So think about that, okay? All right, so, and somebody else wants a session on key automation tools. Stay tuned, and it will be upcoming, okay? All right, so very good. And then there's a lot of other tools out there in addition to CData to do data manipulation. I will do a webinar on that as well, okay? All right, and somebody says, way to integrate value pricing and hourly. My client's workload varies tremendously. That is going to be more challenging, and hopefully we can get into that on a future webinar, all right? I can't answer all these. You guys have been fabulous, though, and thank you. Several hundred of you stayed all the way now, 15 minutes over, but I am going to go ahead and end this and say thank you for joining me for this QB Power Hour. I hope you guys all follow me, join that Facebook group if you haven't already, QB Power Users Community with Hector and Michelle, and follow me on Facebook, all the rest of that, and I will definitely try to join you on April 4th, okay? All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everybody.